Most people want success, but they keep looking for it in big moments. A major decision, a dramatic breakthrough, a perfect day where motivation finally shows up. That is the wrong game. Success is built the small way, small habits, daily execution, time as a multiplier. What you do every day compounds into who you become. And if you keep waiting for a huge change, you will stay stuck. You will delay. You will start and quit. You will dismiss the small things as not enough. Meanwhile, your life keeps drifting with no clear accumulation. This book has one promise: your life can change forever through 10 small habits you can start today. No special conditions, no perfect schedule, just simple actions repeated daily: reading, writing, goals, movement, gratitude, rest, giving, listening, patience, and environment. Do them consistently, and your thinking gets sharper, your actions get stronger, your energy gets steadier, and one day you will look around and realize you do not recognize your old life anymore because the results have compounded. Now, stop waiting. Choose one habit. Choose a time today. Show up. Start the compounding. Until you win. Chapter 1. Don't wait for the big break. When people talk about changing their lives, they picture a big moment, a dramatic decision, a perfect morning where everything finally clicks. They wait for a clean start. They wait for a sign. They wait for a miracle. And while they wait, their life stays the same. Here is the cold reality. There is no big break coming. There is no day where motivation shows up and drags you into a new life. Nobody is coming to save you. No one is going to walk into your schedule and build discipline for you. If you are still waiting for a massive turning point, you are already losing. You see it in the same 3 patterns over and over. You don't start because you think the barrier is too big. You start for a few days, then disappear the moment it gets uncomfortable, or you dismiss the small habits because they feel too small to matter. But every day you spend waiting is not neutral. It has a cost. Every day you delay, you pay with your future. Now, let's transfer the power back to where it belongs. Your life is not decided by a single heroic moment. Your life is decided by what you do daily, not what you plan, not what you talk about, what you do. You are the only one who can change your outcomes because you are the only one living inside your choices. Stop hunting for a jump that drains you and leaves you empty. Start building a track. Start building rails that carry you forward whether you feel ready or not. The real shift is simple and brutal. Your future depends 100% on small actions repeated every day. That is the point of this book. Not big gestures, not grand speeches, small habits, daily, automatic, non-negotiable. And here is the part most people refuse to face. Doing nothing is not standing still. It is moving backward, quietly, consistently. I'll start later is not a pause. It is a decision. Every day you skip a good habit. You compound the wrong direction. You don't see an explosion in a week. You don't see a collapse in 30 days. But give it 6 months. Give it a year. You will feel it. Your mind gets dull. Your energy drops. Your confidence cracks because you keep breaking promises to yourself. You drift. You react. You live on autopilot. You wake up tired and you don't even know why. That is reverse compounding, the slow accumulation of neglect. and time is the multiplier. Time will work for you if you act. Time will work against you if you keep waiting. It is never on your side by default. It takes a side based on what you do today. Now the solution is not complicated. It is not dramatic. It is a micro shift, a small move made now. The kind of move you can do even on a messy day. Changing your life can start today with the smallest action you are willing to repeat tomorrow. These habits do not require luck. They do not require a perfect schedule. They do not require a new personality. They require one thing: you showing up. This book will walk you through 10 small habits you can start anywhere, with whatever you have, and compound into a life you do not recognize. Start with what is right in front of you. Reading 10 to 15 minutes of intentional reading each day, not scrolling, feeding your mind, writing 5 to 10 minutes to put your thoughts on paper and clear the noise. Goals every morning. Choose one meaningful target for the day. Write it down and touch it with one small action. That is it. Not huge, not fancy, but consistent. The standard is not do a lot. The standard is do a little, but do it daily. Because consistency is the real power. It is not exciting every day. It is not loud, but it works. And now, here is the ultimatum. You have 2 paths. Path 1, you stop waiting and you start stacking small actions daily. You protect the chain. You keep showing up. The effort compounds. The skills compound. The confidence compounds. And one day you look around and you realize you cannot recognize your old life anymore, because your daily choices built a new one. Path 2. You keep waiting for the perfect moment. You keep delaying. You keep repeating the same week again and again, and no one will do it for you. You will stay in the same tired loop, with the same excuses and the same results. Choose not tomorrow, today. Say it clearly. From today, I choose the small path, repeated daily, and prove it with action. Right now, choose exactly one small habit you will do today. Only one. Then, write the exact time you will do it. Not later. Not when I feel like it. A real time. Put it on the day. And when that time arrives, show up. No negotiating. Start today. Chapter 2. The Compounding Effect, the Real Weapon. Here is the law of change that never fails. Small plus consistent plus time equals massive results. Not theory, not hope, reality. The reason most people never experience it is not because it does not work. It is because their small habits never survive long enough to compound. They start, they stop, they show up, then disappear. They get excited for a week, then lose themselves in noise. That is why this chapter is not just about compounding. It is about protection. You are not building habits in a peaceful world. You are building them in a battlefield. If you do not build a fortress around your attention and energy, the world will steal them and your habits will die. Step 1 is simple. Identify the thief. Stop pretending you do not know what is taking your time. Stop acting surprised when you end the day with nothing done. There are things around you every day that quietly rob you. They rob your focus. They rob your energy. They rob your future. The thief can look like a phone that never shuts up. It can look like endless scrolling that leaves you empty. It can look like gossip, drama, meaningless news, random opinions, and constant comparison. It can also look like your own inner noise, overthinking, self-doubt, the habit of waiting until you feel ready. These thieves pull you back into autopilot. They whisper the same lie every day. Small things do not matter. And when you believe that lie, you quit after a few days because you cannot see results yet. Here is the brutal truth. The world is full of things competing for your attention. If you lose your attention, you lose your future. Because attention is the gateway to action. No attention, no action. No action, no compounding. Step 2 is the scarcity reality. You do not have unlimited time. You do not have unlimited energy. You do not wake up with an endless supply of focus. You have a limited daily budget, and most people spend it on garbage. Then wonder why they have nothing left for the habits that could change their lives. They spread themselves thin across pointless tasks, pointless conversations, pointless entertainment. Then they try to get disciplined at the end of the day when they are already drained. That is backwards. You do not need a huge wave of motivation to change your life. You need control of your resources. You need to protect your time like it is sacred. You need to protect your energy like it is fuel. You need to protect your focus like it is your life, because it is. Scarcity is not a complaint. Scarcity is clarity. Once you accept that your resources are limited, you stop wasting them. You start allocating them. You start acting like a builder, not a drifter. Step 3 is the ROI check. This is where you stop lying to yourself about what creates results. Reading 100 posts is not progress. Watching 100 videos is not progress. Talking about your goals is not progress. Feeling inspired is not progress. None of that compounds unless it turns into a daily habit you execute. There is a difference between consumption and construction. Consumption feels productive because it gives you emotion. Construction is productive because it gives you evidence. Most people are addicted to the feeling of learning and planning and talking, but they are starving their future because they are not doing the small actions that actually stack. Here is the backbone statement. Opinions do not create compounding. Emotions do not create compounding. Only habits create compounding. The compounding effect is not magic. It is math. Tiny deposits made daily create a fortune. Tiny actions repeated daily create a new life. But if you keep depositing nothing, you get nothing. And if you keep depositing chaos, you get chaos. Step 4 is the ruthless filter. This is the fortress. This is where you become serious. From now on, anything that does not help you maintain your small daily habit is noise. Treat it like noise. Cut it like noise. Do not negotiate with noise. Do not justify noise. Do not romanticize noise. If it breaks your schedule, it is not just a little fun. It is a thief. If it drains your energy, it is not relaxation. It is sabotage. If it scatters your attention, it is not keeping up with the world. It is stealing your future. You need a practical filter you can apply every day. Fast, without drama. Ask 3 questions. Does this help me do my habit today? Does this drain me or distract me? Does this make me forget my core target? If the answer is no, yes, then you already know what it is. Cut it, remove it, limit it, block it. Protect your rhythm, because your rhythm is your power. Your rhythm is the only thing that allows compounding to run long enough to change your life. Protecting the rhythm matters more than chasing short moments of entertainment. Most people sacrifice their future for a quick hit of comfort. You will not. You will be ruthless because you respect your life. Step 5 is the speed of freedom. This is what happens when your fortress holds. You start showing up more consistently because your energy is not leaking everywhere. You start moving forward because your attention is not being hijacked every hour. You stop being pulled around by bad habits and outside noise, and you finally feel the compounding effect start to run. It is not loud at first. It is quiet. It is steady. But it is real, day by day. You get sharper, day by day. You get stronger, day by day. You become someone who does what they said they would do, and then one day, you look back and you realize something. You do not recognize your old life anymore, not because you got lucky, because you stayed consistent long enough. That is the promise. The compounding effect creates extraordinary results. You do not need to do everything perfectly. You only need to do it steadily. No drama, no excuses, no disappearing. Just show up. Just protect the rhythm. Just keep the deposits coming. Now do the action item before you move on. Write down 3 thieves that steal your time and energy every day. Be honest. Name them. Then choose exactly one thing to cut immediately in the next 24 hours to protect your small habit. Do it fast. Do it clean. Build your fortress and let compounding do what it always does. It will change everything if you stop letting the thieves win. Chapter 3. The rules start small. Start now. Most people do not fail because they are incapable. They fail because they are waiting to feel motivated, waiting to feel ready, waiting for the perfect schedule, the perfect mood, the perfect moment. That waiting is not patience. It is a delay disguised as wisdom, and it ends the same way every time. Nothing changes because motivation is not coming to rescue you. If you build your system on feelings, your system will collapse the moment feelings disappear. That is the cold truth. A real habit system must run on your worst days, not your best days. It must work when you are tired, busy, discouraged, and uninterested. That is the standard. Start small. Start now. Show up anyway. This chapter is the transfer point. You have already seen the truth about compounding. Now you either turn belief into action or you keep collecting ideas and staying the same. The rule is simple. Your life changes when your calendar changes, not when your thoughts sound nice. Self-trust does not come from confident speeches. It comes from evidence, and evidence only comes from action. That is why you need a contract with yourself, not a motivational quote. A self-trust contract is a daily agreement. I will do a small piece of the work today, no matter what. Not a grand promise, not a dramatic vow. A small, clear commitment that you can execute even on a bad day. Because every time you follow through, you lay down proof. You become someone you can rely on. You stop begging yourself for belief and you start earning it. Brick by brick, day by day. That is how discipline is built. Not by intensity, by repetition. Here is the part most people avoid. The bad day will come, not once, often. The day you wake up late. The day your mind feels heavy. The day your energy is low. The day everything feels pointless. That day is not an exception. That day is the test, and the rule for that day is non-negotiable. You still do the habit, but you do the minimum version. You are not allowed to break the chain. You are allowed to reduce the size, but you are not allowed to reduce the frequency. Minimum keeps the system alive. Minimum protects your identity. Minimum keeps compounding on your side. So set the minimum now, before the bad day arrives. For reading, choose a small number of minutes you can always do. Not when life is perfect, when life is messy. For journal, choose a small number of lines you can always write. Not a masterpiece, just clarity. For goals, choose the simplest action. Name one goal for the day. 1. Write it down. That is enough to keep direction alive. Your job on a bad day is not to win big. Your job is to not disappear, because disappearing is the real failure. Missing once is data. Vanishing is surrender. Now, listen carefully. Perfection is the most dangerous excuse. People say they want to start, but what they really mean is they want to start perfectly. They want the perfect plan before the first step. They want to feel confident before the first action. They want a flawless routine before they show up. That is a trap. The goal is not to be impressive. The goal is to be consistent. You have permission to be imperfect. You have permission to do it badly. You do not have permission to quit. You do not have permission to wait for conditions that will never stay perfect long enough. The compounding life is built by people who keep going while imperfect. The habit system wins because it repeats, not because it shines. Execution beats elegance, always. And here is where it locks in. Identity. You are not just building a schedule. You are building a person. Every small action is a vote. Every time you show up, you are casting a vote for a new identity, not the identity of someone who talks, the identity of someone who does, over time. Those votes compound into a statement you no longer have to argue for. I am the kind of person who shows up. I am the kind of person who works daily. I am the kind of person who does not negotiate with excuses. That identity is your real power. Because once you become that person, the habits stop feeling like tasks and start feeling like who you are. Your words do not prove you. Your calendar proves you, Batu. Your actions prove you. Your consistency proves you. So here is the command that ends this chapter. Tomorrow, you enter the next phase by executing the 3 foundation habits immediately. Not next week, not after you feel inspired. Tomorrow. You will write your minimum versions on paper today. Reading minimum X minutes. Journal minimum X lines. Goals minimum 1 goal written down. Then you will choose one fixed time in your day when you will do them. A real time, a time you can protect. And you will show up at that time even if you do not feel like it. Especially if you do not feel like it. This is automatic show up. This is how you stop being a person who tries and become a person who executes. Decide now. Start small. Start now. Then do it again tomorrow. Then do. Chapter 4. Habit 1. Reading. Stop waiting for motivation. Motivation is not a schedule. Motivation is not a guarantee. Motivation is a feeling, and feelings are unreliable. If you keep telling yourself you will read when you feel like it or when you finally have time, you are choosing to stay the same. You are choosing drift. You are choosing a life built on excuses disguised as timing. Reading does not happen by accident. Reading happens by decision, and the decision has to be daily. Your mind needs fuel the same way your body needs food. If you feed your body and starve your mind. Do not be shocked when your thinking is weak, your focus is scattered, and your results are small. Reading is not a pastime. Reading is a discipline. Reading is the daily act of feeding your mind with what success requires: knowledge, wisdom, perspective, and better options. The world is full of noise and cheap distractions. Those things do not build you. They drain you. Reading builds you. Reading sharpens you. Reading opens doors you cannot see yet. And that is why you do not wait for motivation. You read because your future depends on what you put into your mind today. Now make this real. Make reading a contract, not a wish, not a goal you talk about, a contract you live by. You do not need to feel inspired to keep a contract. You keep it because you respect yourself. Every day you read, you place one more brick of proof in your own hands. Proof that you are the kind of person who shows up. Proof that you do what you said you would do. Proof that you are not controlled by comfort. Self-trust is not built by speeches. It is built by receipts. And reading gives you receipts. Small ones, daily ones, powerful ones. You may not feel different after one reading session. That is not the point. The point is that you are stacking days. You are stacking proof. You are stacking discipline. And while you are doing that, you are also collecting something else: other people's life work. Think about the advantage. Instead of spending years making every mistake yourself, you can borrow a lifetime of lessons in pages. You can absorb strategies, mindsets, and warnings from people who already walked the road. That is leverage. That is compounding. One session is a drop. Daily sessions become a river. And that river changes your direction without asking for your permission. But here is the test. The test is not the good days. The test is the bad days. You will have them. Days when you are tired, days when you are busy, days when your mind feels heavy, days when everything in you wants to escape. That is where most people lose. They disappear. They break the chain. They tell themselves, "I'll restart tomorrow," and tomorrow becomes next week. Next week becomes next month, and the habit dies, not because they were incapable, because they did not have a rule. You need a rule, the bad day rule on bad days. You do not negotiate with the habit. You lower the dose, not the frequency. You read less, but you do not skip. 10 minutes, 15 minutes, even 5 minutes if that is what you have. But you touch it. You keep the signal alive, because continuity is more important than intensity. This is not about pages. This is about rhythm. Knowledge compounds like interest. Not because one deposit is huge, but because the deposits keep coming. The compounding only works if you do not stop. If you break the chain every time you feel tired, you are training yourself to be unreliable. You are training yourself to quit. So make it simple. Bad day means minimum version. Minimum version means you still show up. You still read. You keep the identity alive. And now remove the next trap: perfection. Perfection is the cleanest excuse you will ever use. I need the perfect book. I need the perfect plan. I need the perfect quiet time. No, you do not. You need to start. You need to build the rhythm first. Quality gets better after consistency exists. If you refuse to begin until everything is ideal, you will never begin. The habit is not built by perfect choices. The habit is built by repeated choices. Start messy. Start imperfect. Start today. Read something that serves you, then improve your selection over time, because your inputs shape your outputs. Your mind is a factory. What you feed it becomes what it produces. If you feed it gossip, noise, and junk, do not expect clarity if you feed it ideas that stretch your thinking. Do not be surprised when your decisions get sharper. The ideas you let into your mind today will shape your future. That is not poetry. That is a law. So, yes, you are allowed to be imperfect in the beginning, but you are not allowed to be careless forever. Learn to choose on purpose. Choose books that challenge you. Choose ideas that build you. Choose material that aligns with where you are going. Reading is not entertainment. Reading is construction. And if you treat it like construction, your life will start to look like something you built, not something that happened to you. This is where identity changes. You are not trying to become a person who reads sometimes. You are becoming a person who installs deliberate input every day. 10 to 15 minutes a day is enough to begin the shift, because the shift is not just knowledge. The shift is who you believe you are. Every time you sit down and read, you are telling yourself, I am the kind of person who invests in my mind. You are telling yourself, I show up. You are telling yourself, I do not wait for permission. That identity compounds. It grows quietly. It grows when nobody is watching. It grows when results are invisible. And then, one day you notice you think differently. You notice you solve problems faster. You notice you make better choices with less drama. You notice you are calmer under pressure. You notice you are less easily distracted. That is not an accident. That is the compound effect doing its job. And once reading becomes your foundation, the next habits become easier to install. Writing becomes easier because you have better inputs. Goals become clearer because you have better thinking. Your whole system gets stronger because the base is stronger. Now you will do the only thing that matters. You will commit, not in your head, not with hope, with a schedule. Choose one fixed reading time every day. Morning after you wake up, or evening before sleep. Pick one, lock it in, then set your minimum and your maximum. Minimum 10 minutes a day, maximum whatever you can handle without breaking the chain. And you will run the 7-day test, 7 days, no breaks, no excuses. If you miss yesterday, you do not move on. You correct within 24 hours and protect the chain. This is not about being perfect. This is about being consistent. Read every day for 7 days. Prove to yourself you can keep a contract. Prove to yourself you can build a foundation. Start today. Open the book. Set the timer. Do the work. Then do it again tomorrow. Chapter 5. Habit 2. Writing/journal. You don't need more motivation. You need clarity. And right now, your mind is not clear. It is crowded. It is noisy. It is overloaded. Every day you carry unfinished thoughts, half decisions, worries, plans, and random impulses like heavy bags on your back. That weight is why you feel tired before you even start. That weight is why you keep switching tasks. That weight is why you work all day, but end the day with nothing solid to show for it. Here is the brutal audit. Your mind is not a safe place to store everything. If you keep everything in your head, It rots into confusion. It turns into anxiety. It turns into hesitation. You keep replaying the same loops, the same fears, the same maybes, and you call it thinking. It is not thinking. It is noise, and noise steals focus. Noise steals energy. Noise steals your future. If you do not put your thoughts on paper, you will not control them. They will control you. You will wake up, react to the day, and let the day drag you like a leash. That ends now. Pick up a pen. Open a notebook. Because pen and paper do one thing your mind cannot do when it is overloaded. They turn the invisible into something you can see. They take the cloud in your head and force it into clear lines. They take the vague pressure and make it specific. And once it is specific, you can handle it. Once it is visible, you can cut it. This is not art. This is not poetry. This is not a deep journaling experience. This is a tool. This is surgical removal. You are going to remove the internal noise the same way you remove a tumor, by naming it, exposing it, and cutting it out. So stop overcomplicating writing. Stop waiting to feel inspired. Stop pretending you need the perfect template. You need a simple framework that you can repeat even when you are tired, because the point of this habit is not to write beautifully. The point is to write consistently. 5 to 10 minutes. That's it. Not because 5 to 10 minutes is cute, because 5 to 10 minutes is sustainable, because 5 to 10 minutes makes you show up. And when you show up daily, you build proof. Proof builds self-trust. Self-trust builds momentum. Momentum builds your new identity. This is how you win. You write to become the architect of your own mind. You do not let the day design you. You design the day. You don't need a complicated system. You need a structure that your future self can follow without negotiating. Here is the rule: the simpler the structure, the easier it is to maintain. Complexity is a trap. It feels productive, but it collapses under pressure. Simplicity survives. Simplicity repeats, and repetition is where compounding lives. Your journal is not a diary. It is a control panel. It is an anchor. It is a place where you tell your mind, this is what matters. This is what I'm doing. This is what I'm not doing. When you write, you are cleaning the room inside your head. Think about it. A messy room drains you even if you never touch it. A cluttered mind does the same thing. It keeps buzzing. It keeps nagging. It keeps pulling your attention in 10 directions. Writing is you taking out the trash, 1 page at a time, 1 day at a time. You put the chaos on paper, and suddenly it loses power. Because you can see it, because you can label it, because you can decide what to do with it, and most of the time. Once you see it clearly, you realize how much of it was just mental static, not truth, not reality, static. That is why this habit is not optional. If you want focus, you must reduce noise. If you want discipline, you must remove confusion. If you want progress, you must stop carrying invisible weight. Now let's talk about the enemy that ruins people who start strong and then disappear. FOMO, the fear of missing out, the constant itch to check, to scroll, to switch, to chase the next thing. FOMO doesn't just waste time, it breaks direction. It makes you forget what you said you wanted. It pulls you away from your habits, then convinces you it was no big deal. 1 missed day becomes 2. 2 becomes a week. A week becomes your old life again. Your journal kills FOMO because it pulls you back to center. It forces you to look at your priorities in black and white. It reminds you that most distractions are not opportunities. They are noise wearing a costume. The journal is your anchor when the world tries to drag you. It is your reset when your mind starts spinning. It is your proof that you are locked in. And here is the hidden weapon you get from clarity. You get the power to say no. Not emotional no, not angry no, strategic no. Clean no. The kind of no that protects your time, your energy, your habits, your future. Because once you see what matters on paper, you can't pretend you forgot. Once you see your focus, you stop donating your day to random requests and cheap stimulation. You stop letting other people's urgency become your schedule. You stop letting your own impulses run your life. Every page you complete is not just writing. It is leadership. It is you practicing self-leadership, daily. No speeches, no hype, proof. So here is your non-negotiable action. You will write 3 lines every day. No more, no less. You will not negotiate with feelings. You will not wait for the perfect time. You will not skip because it seems too small. Small is the point. Small is what you can repeat. Small is what compounds. Write these 3 lines every day for 7 days straight. What am I focused on today? What is distracting me right now? What will I remove in the next 24 hours? That's it. Do it fast. Do it messy. Do it tired. Just do it. Because when you write it down, you take back control. You stop drifting. You stop reacting. You start directing. And if you can direct your day, you can direct your life. Show up. Write the 3 lines. Protect your focus. And keep doing it until you win. Chapter 6. Habit 3. Goals. Most people think working hard is enough. It is not. Hard work without a clear target is just motion. It is effort with no direction. If you do not set clear goals, you are like a ship with no sail. You might be moving, but you are drifting. You will wake up busy. You will end the day tired. And you will still be in the same place next month, next year. Because the world does not reward effort alone. The world rewards focused effort. And focus requires a target. Goals are not a New Year's thing. Goals are not a wish you think about once and then forget. Goals are the command center of your day. They tell your time where to go. They tell your energy where to go. They tell your attention what to ignore. Without goals, you do not run your day. Your day runs you. You react. You scroll. You chase random tasks. You call it productivity. It is not. It is drift. And drift compounds against you. Every day you live without a clear target. You pay for it. You pay in wasted hours. You pay in confusion. You pay in lost momentum. If you want your habits to build a life, you must give them a direction. That direction is your goals. Now, here is the shift. Goals are not supposed to be huge speeches. Goals are supposed to be daily orders. Simple, clear, written every morning. You ask yourself one question. What do I want to accomplish today? Then you ask the sharper question. What is the one thing, just one, that if I complete it today will create a real difference? Write it down, not in your head, on paper, on a note, in a journal, somewhere you can see. Because when you write it down, you give your mind a job. And your mind works best when it has a job. It stops wandering. It stops chasing noise. It starts looking for solutions. It starts filtering distractions. Written goals turn your day from a fog into a path. And this is where self-trust is built. Confidence is not a feeling. It is evidence. You build evidence when you do what you said you would do. You build evidence when you show up and follow through. So you make a contract with yourself every day. I touch my goal, not with hope, with action, even if the action is small, even if it is not perfect, because goals are fed by specific actions, and they die from delay. They do not die in one dramatic moment. They die in small excuses. I'll do it later. I'll do it tomorrow. I'll do it when I feel ready. That is the slow death. That is how people stay stuck while telling themselves they are trying. You are not here to try. You are here to build. So you make it real. You write the goal. You choose the action. You schedule it. Then you execute. No negotiating. Now listen closely. There will be bad days. You will be tired. You will be stressed. You will be busy. And on those days, your old self will offer you a deal. Skip today. You deserve a break. That deal is expensive because the real danger is not a hard day. The real danger is a broken rhythm. The moment you stop touching your goal, you lose momentum. You lose trust. You lose the feeling of being in control. So here is the rule, the bad day rule. Even on your worst day, you still touch the goal, but you touch it in the minimum version. Minimum, not zero. You do not need a big win today. You need continuity. You need to keep the signal alive. If the goal is fitness, your minimum might be 10 minutes of movement. If the goal is learning, your minimum might be 10 minutes of reading. If the goal is building a project, your minimum might be one small task that moves the needle. You shrink the size. You never shrink the frequency, because consistency is the real secret. Consistency is what compounds, and compounding does not care about your mood. It cares about repetition. One small action today is a deposit. One small action tomorrow is another deposit. Stack those deposits. That is how goals stop being dreams and start becoming outcomes. Now do not fall into the perfection trap. People love to say, "I'm just trying to get clear first." That is a lie dressed as wisdom. Clarity comes from movement. You do not wait until the plan feels perfect. You start. You write a goal that is good enough to guide your day. You follow it. You adjust. You refine. You learn. You keep going. Perfection is not a standard. It is a delay tactic. It makes you feel responsible while you stay inactive. You do not need perfect goals. You need real goals. Goals you can act on today. Goals you can track. Goals you can touch with your hands through behavior. And the more you do this, the more your identity changes. Because your identity is not what you say. It is what your days prove. When you write goals daily and take one action daily, you become a person with direction. You become someone who does not drift. You become someone who decides and follows through. That is the identity compound. Small decisions, daily, brick by brick. You are not just managing time. You are building a stronger self. And here is the final lock-in. Reading feeds your mind. Journaling clears your mind. Goals aim your mind. These three habits create a track, a rail, a system you can run on even when life gets loud, with that track in place. The next habits will have a place to land. They will not be random. They will be aligned. Now do the work, right now. Write one main goal, short, specific, real. Then write one small daily action that touches it, not a fantasy action, a real action you can do even on a bad day. Then attach it to a fixed time in your day and commit to it for 7 days without breaking. No drama, no excuses. Do it. Touch the goal every day and build the person who does not drift. Chapter 7, Habit 4, Exercise. Every day you will face the same crossroads. It shows up the moment fatigue hits, the moment your chest feels heavy, the moment your mind starts negotiating. You get 2 options. Option 1, you surrender. I'm tired. I'll skip today. I'll start again tomorrow. That sounds harmless. It is not. That choice slowly kills your system. It turns discipline into a part-time hobby. It turns your future into a gamble. Option 2. You activate anyway, not with drama, not with some heroic workout, with a small trigger, a light start, a simple move that keeps the engine running. This is the decision that keeps your habits alive. From today forward, you do not negotiate with your body using excuses and delays. You negotiate with the smallest actions. You do not wait for a massive change. You protect the rhythm. You keep the chain alive because the chain is the point. Now listen, every time you say, "I have no energy," you are not stating a fact. You are handing over the steering wheel. You are giving your day to a feeling. You are letting your mood become your boss. And moods are terrible leaders. They change with weather, with sleep, with stress, with one bad message on a screen. If your life depends on how you feel, you will lose. But when you move your body on purpose, you send a message to your mind, "I am alive, I am capable, I am strong." Not because you feel strong, because you acted strong. That is the power exchange. You stop asking your body for permission. You start telling your body what happens next. Fatigue does not get a vote. It is only a signal. It is not the driver. It is not the one in control. And here is the reality check. Life is not fair. Your schedule is heavy. Your stress is real. Your problems are not imaginary. You are busy. You are under pressure. You are tired. That part is true, but the price of neglect is also true. If you ignore your physical base, you will pay for it in focus. You will pay for it in mood. You will pay for it in energy. When the body is weak, the mind becomes fragile. When the body is neglected, stress hits harder, decisions get worse, and quitting becomes easier. There is a direct connection between your physical condition and your mental performance. You do not need to become an athlete. You do not need 2 hours in a gym. You do not need extreme routines that burn you out and make you disappear for a week. You need a steady rhythm, a small daily practice that keeps your system from collapsing. Because this habit is not about a perfect body. It is about a reliable mind. It is about keeping your promise to yourself every single day. This is the identity shift. There are 2 types of people. One is a victim of the body. They wait until they feel good. They wait until the day is perfect. They wait until motivation shows up. And they lose. The other is the controller of the body. They do not wait. They do not beg for energy. They create energy through movement. They flip the switch on purpose. They show up even when they do not feel like it. That is what exercise really trains. It trains the habit of showing up. It trains you to move forward while uncomfortable. It trains you to stay in the fight when you would rather retreat. That is why exercise is a perfect metaphor for the rest of your life. When you can push through mild discomfort, you build toughness when you can do it when tired. You build self-trust, and self-trust is everything, because your future will demand consistency, not comfort. This is where compounding takes over. People love intensity because it feels impressive. They go hard once, they suffer, they brag, then they vanish. That is not strength. That is a cycle. Real strength is boring. Real strength is repeatable. 10 to 20 minutes of walking, light stretching, or simple movement every day will beat 2 hours once a week, followed by exhaustion and excuses. Small plus consistent plus time becomes unstoppable. That is the law. Your body responds to what you repeat, not what you attempt once in a while. Your mind responds the same way. When you keep your body moving daily, your mind stays sharper, your focus stays cleaner, your mood becomes steadier, and your other habits become easier to execute. Now you need a protocol, not a speech, not inspiration. A protocol. Here is the 10-minute activation rule. Choose a fixed time window. Make it simple. Right after you wake up, or right before work, or right after you finish your main task. You pick one. You lock it in. Then you start with 2 minutes that are embarrassingly easy. That is not weakness, that is strategy. 2 minutes breaks resistance. 2 minutes proves you can start. 2 minutes flips the switch. Then you extend it to a minimum of 10 minutes. Walk, stretch, move lightly. Anything that raises your body out of zero. And when it is a bad day, you do not quit. You downshift. That is the bad day rule. On the worst day, you do the minimum, 10 minutes. Not because it is impressive, because it keeps the signal alive, because it keeps your identity intact. The goal is not athletic performance. The goal is the habit of showing up. The goal is to become the person who does not disappear. The goal is to keep the system running so your reading, your writing, and your goals do not collapse under fatigue. Now the assignment. You will not negotiate. You will choose one fixed time for exercise and commit to it for the next 7 days. You will write down your minimum 10 minutes version, the one you will do even when you have no motivation. Walk around the house, light stretching, simple mobility, whatever is realistic. But it must be specific, and you will start tomorrow. Not someday, not when you feel ready. Tomorrow, 10 minutes, no excuses, no bargaining, just show up. Chapter 8. Habit 5. Gratitude. Every day you wake up and you stand at a crossroads. Not a dramatic one, a quiet one, a daily one. You will either live in lack or live in strength. You will either spend the day staring at what is missing and letting that emptiness drain you, or you will train your mind to see what you already have and use that clarity to keep moving. If all you do is focus on what you do not have, you will feel hungry no matter how much you gain. You will feel behind no matter how far you come. And that constant sense of shortage will exhaust you. But if you focus on what is working, what is present, what is still in your hands, you build endurance. What you focus on expands. Focus on lack and you will attract more frustration, more bitterness, more excuses. Focus on what is good and you will begin to notice you have more to build with than you thought. This is not about being positive. This is about survival. The lens you choose will decide how long you last. Now understand the power exchange. Complaining is giving away control. Every time you complain, you are handing your energy to the very thing you say you hate. The more you complain, the weaker you become, the more you compare. The more your confidence breaks into pieces. And for what complaining does not solve the problem. It does not move you forward. It does not build a single habit. It only burns the fuel you need to stay consistent. You only have so much attention, so much energy, so much time each day. When you spend it on negativity, you starve your discipline. You starve your future. When you carry irritated energy, you close doors. You stop seeing opportunities. You stop thinking clearly. You start reacting instead of building. Gratitude flips that switch. It moves you from scarcity to fullness, from tightness to steadiness, from nothing is enough to I have enough to keep going. And here is the brutal truth. Every time you choose to complain, you are paying for it. You are paying with your life force. You are paying with your focus. You are paying with the momentum you claim you want. Stop paying that price. Now let's get real. Life is not fair. You will face pressure. You will face setbacks. You will face days where you feel like the world is against you. Gratitude is not pretending those things are not real. Gratitude is not blind optimism. Gratitude is not forcing a smile while you are breaking inside. Gratitude is an anchor. It is what keeps you standing when the storm is loud. It is what keeps you from destroying yourself with bitterness while you are still in the fight. You do not need a beautiful emotion to win. You do not need to feel happy all the time. You need a mental state that is stable enough to keep your habits alive. Because the game you are playing is not one good day. It is many days stacked together. And if your mind collapses, your system collapses. So stop chasing a mood. Build a foundation. That is what gratitude is for. Now shift your identity. There are two types of people. The first type is pulled by emotion. Their mood decides their actions. Their frustration decides their discipline. Their disappointment decides whether they show up. They are on a leash. The second type is the controller. They feel the emotion, but they do not obey it. They do not allow negativity to break their standards. They do not let comparison steal their peace. They do not let complaining become their personality. Strong people are not the ones who are always cheerful. Strong people are the ones who refuse to let dark emotions destroy their daily commitments. Gratitude trains that strength. It is an emergency switch that pulls you out of self-destruction. It changes your energy so you can stay open. Open to ideas, open to solutions, open to opportunity. And this is not isolated. It connects to everything you are building. If your mind is unstable, your habits cannot survive. You will skip your exercise. You will stop reading. You will stop writing. You will stop setting goals. Not because you are incapable, but because your inner state is chaotic. A stable state keeps the system from breaking. State stable means you can keep showing up, keep stacking days, keep compounding. That is why gratitude is not soft. It is strategic. It protects your momentum. Now, here is the protocol. Simple, practical. 2 to 3 minutes. No drama, no performance, just discipline. Every day. You write 3 lines. Line 1, one thing you have. Make it real. A roof, your health this morning, a warm light, clean water, a quiet moment, something that proves you are not empty. Line 2, one thing you did right today. It can be small. You showed up. You said no to a distraction. You kept a promise. You took one step. A tiny win still counts. Line 3, one person or one opportunity you are grateful for today. If there is one. A message. A chance. A conversation. A moment of support. You are not writing poetry. You are training your mind. You are building a lens. And you do not need to feel emotional while doing it. You only need to do it. Consistency over emotion. Discipline over mood. That is the rule. And now the assignment. For 7 straight days, every night, you will write the gratitude 3-line protocol. You will not skip. You will not negotiate. If you missed yesterday, you write it within the next 24 hours. You do not break the chain. The goal is not to chase a nice feeling. The goal is to build a quiet, stable foundation that keeps you from falling apart and quitting. Do it. Keep it simple. Keep it daily. And watch what happens when your mind stops feeding on lack and starts feeding on strength. Chapter 9, Habit 6. Rest. Modern life worships hustle. It glorifies being busy. It praises the person who works non-stop and sleeps last. And that is exactly why most people burn out. Break their rhythm and quit on themselves. This is a crossroads decision. You want to go far, or you want to flare up and fade out. Those are the options. Option 1, you keep pushing like a machine. You squeeze every drop of energy. You wear exhaustion like a badge. And then you crash. Burnout, irritability, sloppy decisions, zero patience. You stop showing up for your habits because you have nothing left. Option 2, you rest the right way. You recover on purpose, and you protect your momentum. Because you are not building a short sprint. You are building a long-term compounding system, and a system cannot survive without fuel. Rest is not a reward. Rest is a discipline to sustain. If you rest wrong, you break the rhythm. If you never rest, you snap the rhythm. Either way, you lose the compounding power of consistency. Now, let's expose the trap. Busy can be a lie you hide behind. Busy becomes the excuse that makes missing your habits feel acceptable. I'm busy becomes permission to skip the workout, to skip the writing, to skip the reading, to skip the one thing that would keep your life moving forward. And when you are tired, you don't just miss one habit. You let the whole day drift. One skip turns into a freefall. You call it being realistic. It is not realism. It is a lack of recovery discipline. Working smart matters more than grinding blindly. And one of the smartest moves you can make is knowing when to step back so you can keep stepping forward tomorrow. You do not lack time. You lack the discipline to restore your energy on purpose. Here is the reality check. You are not a machine. Rest is not luxury. Rest is not weakness. You are human. Your mind and body require space to heal and recover. Ignore that. And you pay. You make worse decisions. You get easily irritated. You quit faster. You fall into procrastination because your brain is overloaded and your system is running on fumes. And here is the part most people miss. Your best ideas often show up when you step away from the noise, when you allow your mind to go quiet. Rest done right does not slow you down. Rest done right keeps your system from snapping in half. Because the goal is not one perfect day. The goal is a rhythm that survives. Now you need an identity shift. From today, You are not the person who self-destructs for performance. You are the person who protects the system. You are not here to be impressive. You are here to be consistent. Rest is your armor. Rest is what protects every other habit you are building. You rest so you have the strength to keep exercise tomorrow. You rest so your mind is sharp enough for writing and journaling. You rest so you have the energy to execute your goals instead of staring at them. Rest is not the moment your system stops. Rest is the moment your system maintains itself so you can keep showing up with small actions, repeated daily, without breaking. That is the whole point of compounding. You do not win by one heroic week. You win by not collapsing in month 3. So here is the Freedom Declaration. I am giving you a simple rest protocol with 3 layers. Use it. Do not debate it. First layer. Sleep. Deep sleep. Pick a fixed sleep window and protect it like your future depends on it. Because it does. Stop treating sleep like something you get if there is time. Make it a standard. Make it non-negotiable. Second layer, micro breaks, 5 to 15 minutes during the day. Not scrolling, not noise, a clean break, step away, walk, sit in silence, let your head reset. You are not wasting time. You are clearing the system so you can keep moving. Third layer. Recovery day. When you hit overload, you do not disappear. You reduce intensity, but you do not break frequency. You do the minimum version, and you keep the chain alive. That is the rule, lower the standard. Never lower the cadence. Too tired for a full workout. Do 10 minutes of movement. Too drained to write a full page. Write the minimum lines. Too exhausted to read for 15 minutes. Read 1 page. The mission is simple. Rest is not pressing stop. Rest is keeping rhythm. Rest is protecting momentum. Rest is how you stay in the game long enough for the results to be forced to appear. Now your action assignment is short and strict. First, choose 1 target sleep time and hold it for the next 7 days. No drama, no excuses. Protect it. Second, write down the minimum version of your other habits for your hard days, so you are ready before the hard day arrives. Decide what minimum means for you, and make it small enough that you can do it even when you are tired. Because the ultimate goal is not perfection. The ultimate goal is that your compounding chain never breaks. You want progress. Then stop acting like rest is optional. Rest is discipline. Rest is strategy. Rest is how you keep showing up. And if you keep showing up, you win. Chapter 10. Habit 7, Giving. The moment you decide to practice giving, you will hit a wall, not because giving is complicated, but because your default life is built to keep you closed. You will tell yourself you are too busy. You will tell yourself you do not have time. You will tell yourself you cannot afford it. And then there is the other fear. The quiet one that hides behind being practical. You will worry you will be used. You will worry people will take and never return. So you pull back. You protect yourself. You shrink. Or you swing to the other extreme. You give in a burst. You overextend. You try to be generous in one dramatic moment. Then you feel drained, unseen, disappointed. And you stop. That is the pattern. That is the wall. And if you do not plan for it, it will win. Because giving cannot be built on mood. If giving depends on how you feel, It will die the first week you feel tired. The truth is simple. If you do not turn giving into a small daily habit, you will never sustain it. So stop being surprised by the wall. Expect it. Prepare for it. Then pass through it. Giving is not a soft idea. It is a ruthless filter. It separates two types of people: the person who only takes and the person who creates value. The person who lives trapped inside self-interest and the person who lives with expansion. And do not misunderstand what giving is. It is not just money. It is time. It is attention. It is energy. It is talent. It is kindness. It is being present when someone needs you. It is sharing what you know instead of guarding it out of fear. When you give consistently, you become someone different. You move beyond the lazy default of "what do I get?" and you step into "what can I contribute?" That shift upgrades you. Not because the world applauds you, but because your character becomes stronger, your life becomes wider, your relationships become cleaner, your inner power grows, and in a system built on small habits that compound. Giving is not extra. Giving is fuel. It expands your capacity to endure. It expands your ability to stay steady. It makes your path less fragile. But you must do it with discipline, not emotion. Here is where most people get it wrong. They think giving is something you do when you are in a good mood, when life is easy, when you feel generous. That is not giving. That is a temporary emotional release. Real giving is a practice. It has boundaries. It has rhythm. It has purpose. And you must cut two traps immediately. The first trap is giving to be praised, giving to be seen, giving to receive something back. That mindset poisons the habit, because the moment you do not get the recognition you expected, you feel cheated, you feel bitter, you stop. So hear this clearly. Give without demanding payment in applause. Give because it is who you are becoming, not because you want to be rewarded. The second trap is giving beyond your capacity, giving so much that you collapse. That is not noble. That is undisciplined. You cannot pour from an empty cup. If you destroy yourself trying to be generous, you will eventually resent the very people you tried to help. So detach emotion from giving. Do it correctly. Give the right amount. Give at the right pace. Give with a clear mind. Giving is not a performance. It is a system. It is the compounding of positive value over time. Now you need a rule you can execute daily, not a vague idea, not a grand plan. A rule. Here it is, the one more rule, every day. Add one more act of giving, one more small help, one more piece of value shared, one more moment of attention, one more supportive message at the right time, one more useful introduction, one more honest compliment, one more small act that makes someone's life even slightly better. Do not wait for the perfect opportunity. You create it. Ask yourself a hard question every day. How can I give today? What positive difference can I create for someone's life today? Then do something small and real, not dramatic, not expensive, consistent. Because in this book, small done daily is the law. This is how giving becomes part of your identity. And when you give consistently, something happens. Your life starts to open, not because magic falls from the sky, but because value creates movement. People trust those who contribute. Opportunities flow toward those who build. not those who only consume. When you become a person who gives, you become a person who carries a different energy into the world. You stop living like everything is scarce. You stop acting like you must protect every second and every ounce of effort. You become stronger, and the stronger you become, the easier it is to maintain the other habits. Reading becomes easier because your mind is lighter. Journaling becomes clearer because your heart is cleaner. Goals become sharper because your life is not clogged with selfish noise. This is not theory. This is the compounding effect of a giving identity. But it only works if you keep it small and keep it daily. So make it concrete. Choose one form of giving that fits your life and attach it to a fixed time every day. Same time, same trigger, same simple action. Do not leave it to chance. The system must run without you negotiating with your feelings. And now the final contrast. Look at the cost of a life that only takes. It shrinks. It hardens. It becomes isolated. It becomes a small room with no air. You can feel it in people who only consume. They are never satisfied. They are always suspicious. They live in defense. They lose people. They lose opportunities. They lose joy. Now compare that to the small discomfort of giving daily. A message, a small help, a little time, a little attention. The price is small. The return is a life that expands. So make your choice. Do you want your life to keep opening? Or do you want it to slowly close? Here is your action. Write down one small giving action you will do every day for the next 7 days. 1. Make it easy. Make it wool. Attach it to a fixed time. Then execute. No need to be big. Only need to be consistent. Not big, just daily. Chapter 11. Habit 8. Listening. Most people think they are good listeners. They are not. They are just polite while they wait for their turn to speak. They nod. They smile. They say, "Yeah, I get it." But inside their head, they are already writing their response. They are preparing their defense. They are planning how to win the conversation. They are listening to react, not listening to understand. And the reason is simple. Ego. The ego wants control. The ego wants to be right. The ego wants the last word. And if you let that reflex run your life, you will pay for it every day. You will waste time in misunderstandings. You will create conflict that never needed to exist. You will turn small problems into bigger ones because you were too busy proving a point to hear the truth. If you do not make listening a disciplined habit, you will stay trapped in the same cycle talk. React, clash, repeat. That cycle drains your energy. And energy is the fuel your whole system runs on. If your energy is leaking through pointless conflict, your core habits suffer, your focus suffers, your progress suffers. Now get clear. Listening is not a soft skill. Listening is a filter. It separates adults from children. It separates the person who is controlled by emotion from the person who controls their reflex. One person hears something and explodes. The other person hears it, understands it, and chooses a response. That difference is maturity. That difference is power. When you truly listen, you show respect, not fake respect, real respect. You show that the other person's thoughts and feelings matter enough for you to give your full attention. And in a world addicted to distraction, Full attention is rare. Full attention is valuable. Full attention builds trust. Trust strengthens relationships. Strong relationships open doors, and those doors become opportunities you cannot buy with talent alone. Listening upgrades your life because it upgrades the way you move through people, problems, and decisions. It is not just about being nice. It is about running your system with less noise, fewer conflicts, fewer misunderstandings, more clarity, more control. And if you want to win long term, you need clarity and control more than you need to be right in a 5-minute argument. Here is the rule. You do not listen to win. You listen to understand. That requires emotional detachment. You must remove the hunger for victory from the conversation. The moment you enter a talk with the goal of "I will prove I'm right," you stop hearing. You start hunting for mistakes. You start twisting words. You start reacting to tone instead of meaning. That is weakness. Real listening is presence. You listen to the words, yes, but you also listen to what sits underneath the words. You pay attention to body language. You pay attention to tone. You pay attention to emotion. Not so you can judge it, so you can understand the situation correctly. Because the highest goal is understanding, and understanding creates correct decisions. Correct decisions compound. Wrong decisions also compound. That is the part most people ignore. They think listening is just a social habit. It is not. It is a daily compounding tool. If you understand people and situations better, you choose better. If you choose better every day, your life gets better, not overnight, but inevitably. Now, you need a daily method, because discipline is built on small actions, not big speeches. So use the one more rule for listening. Every day, do one more act of real listening than you did yesterday. One more time you ask a clarifying question to make sure you understood. One more time you pause for 3 seconds before you reply. One more time you repeat back the main point the other person just said. These are micro actions. They are small, but they change everything because they slow down your reflex and bring you back into control. And here is the benefit you will feel immediately. Better listening reduces relational noise. Less noise means less emotional drain. Less drain means more energy for your habits, your work, your focus, your goals. You stop bleeding your day into unnecessary fights. You stop carrying stress that was created by a misunderstanding. You protect your system. Make it simple. Use a mini protocol. 3 steps. First, let them finish. Do not interrupt. Do not jump in. Second, repeat the main point in your own words. Short, clear. Third, respond briefly and on point. Not a speech, not a performance, a clean response. That is all. You do not need perfection. You need consistency. This is a habit like every other habit in this book. Small, daily, compounding. Now hear the warning. The cost of not listening is expensive. You lose relationships. You lose opportunities. You waste time. You lose your calm. And when you lose your calm, you lose your focus. And when you lose your focus, you lose your future. One distracted day at a time. You do not need to talk more. You need to hear right. Listening will make you wiser because it forces you to slow down and see clearly. Listening will make you stronger because it trains you to control your reflex. Listening will make your connections deeper because people feel respected when they are truly heard. So, you will train it, starting now. Choose one communication situation every day, with family, at work, or with a friend. One situation, and for 7 days, you will apply the mini protocol. Let them finish. Repeat the main point. Respond briefly and on point. Do it even when you feel triggered. Do it especially when you feel triggered. That is where the habit is built. 7 days, no excuses. If you want a life with less noise and more power, you start by mastering the simple discipline of listening. Chapter 12, Habit 9. Patience, play the long game. We live in a world addicted to instant gratification. Everybody wants results now. Everybody wants proof now. Everybody wants applause now. And that addiction is exactly why most people lose. Because the real game requires a season where you work, you show up, you stay consistent, and you see nothing. No visible change, no dramatic breakthrough, just quiet repetition. This is the part nobody posts. This is the part nobody claps for. This is the part that separates the builders from the quitters. Here is the trap. Most people use today's feelings to judge a long-term trajectory. They feel slow. They feel behind. They feel like it isn't working. So they stop, not because the system failed, but because their emotions became the scoreboard. And emotions are a liar. Feelings are weather. They change. They pass. But your direction is supposed to stay locked in. You are not building a moment. You are building a life. And life changes through compounding. Small actions, every day, over time. But compounding has a price. The price is patience. The price is the silence of results. You must be able to work in silence. You must be able to stay committed when the outside gives you nothing back. Think of success like planting a seed. You put it in the ground. You water it. You protect it. You do it again the next day. And for a long time, the surface looks dead. Nothing moves. Nothing grows where your eyes can see it. And that is where weak people quit. They assume nothing is happening. They dig it up. They stop watering. They stop showing up. They kill the seed with impatience. But under the ground, roots are forming. Roots are gripping. Roots are preparing for the moment the plant breaks through. That is how your habits work. Reading, writing, exercise, goals, all of it. The real work is happening under the surface long before the world can see it. Your small, everyday strategy only wins if you can endure the quiet. You don't need a burst of inspiration. You need tunnel vision strong enough to keep your hands on the wheel. Patience is not sitting still and waiting for a miracle. Patience is daily renewal. Patience is renewing your commitment every morning with action. Every day you wake up. You only need to win once, just once. You need to do the habit. That's it. Not perfectly, not massively, just consistently. Because consistency is the engine, and the engine only needs fuel in small amounts every day. You don't need to feel ready. You need to show up. You don't need to feel confident. You need to collect proof, and proof is earned through repetition. That is why patience is not abstract. It is trained inside the habit itself. When you sit down to read even when you don't want to, when you write a few lines even when your mind is tired, when you move your body for 10 minutes even when you feel low, that is patience. That is the long game. It is not a speech. It is a decision you renew daily. Now change the measurement. Stop measuring progress with emotion. Measure it with action. There is one binary test that ends the excuses. At the end of the day, ask yourself one question. Did I do my habit today? The answer is only allowed to be yes or no. No stories, no explanations, no negotiations. If it's yes, the system is running. If it's no, you handed control back to inertia. That's the truth. And you need truth if you want results, because your goal is not to become a person who means well. Your goal is to become a person who acts, a person who shows up, a person who can be trusted. And trust is built in small moments, not big promises. The binary test forces you to live in reality. It forces you to stop pretending that feelings are a valid reason to stop. It forces you to build an identity based on proof. Then comes the outside pressure. Most people around you do not live by compounding. They live by impulses. They live by quick reactions. They live by what feels good today. So when they see you doing small things every day, they don't understand the law you are living by. They will question it, sometimes politely, sometimes loudly, and sometimes it will be your own inner voice repeating their doubt. What's the point of these tiny actions? That question is poison during the root season. This is where you need necessary isolation. Not isolation from society, isolation from noise, isolation from opinions that don't understand the game, isolation from distractions that steal your schedule. You protect your rhythm. You protect your calendar. You protect your energy, because in the phase where the seed is taking root, protection matters more than performance. You are not trying to impress anyone. You are trying to become inevitable. And inevitability is built by refusing to stop. Now, here is the mandate. Do the small things every day until the results are forced to show up. Until that word is your weapon. You do not need to race anyone. You do not need to prove anything quickly. You have one condition that is non-negotiable. You do not stop. You keep showing up. You keep renewing. You keep passing the binary test, because compounding will do what compounding does. It will multiply whatever you repeat. And one day you will look around and you will not recognize your old life. Not because of one dramatic decision, but because you stayed in the game when it was silent. Now, write your own until mandate. Make it simple. Make it sharp. I will do this habit every day until the results have no choice but to appear. Then choose one habit, just one, and commit to doing it for 14 days straight no matter what you feel. No bargaining, no drama, no delay. Start today. Stay locked in, and don't stop until you win. Chapter 13. Habit 10. Environment. Most people still believe the same lazy myth. If I want it bad enough, I will do it. No. Wanting is not a system. Willpower is not a system. You cannot rely on determination every single day and expect to win in an environment that is built to make you fail. If your space is chaotic, if your schedule is noisy, if your phone controls your attention, if the people around you pull you backward, you are not fighting your habits. You are fighting your environment. And your environment will win more often than you want to admit. Because the truth is brutal. Environment shapes what you think. It shapes what you do. It shapes what you believe is normal. When the environment is wrong, you will get tired. You will start strong and fade fast. You will fall back into old patterns and call it life. It is not life, it is drift. And drift compounds. A real vision of changing your life must be nailed into a real environment. If you want small habits done daily to create extraordinary results, your environment must become a launch pad, not a trap. Stop pretending you can outwork a broken setup. Fix the setup. Now, here is the good news. You do not need a full overhaul. You do not need a dramatic move. You do not need to burn your whole life down to rebuild it. You need daily renewal. One small adjustment per day. One change that makes your habits 10% easier. That is it. Small shifts. Daily compounding. That is the rule of this entire book. You do not win by changing everything at once. You win by changing one thing today, then one thing tomorrow. Then stacking those changes until the old version of your life cannot survive. Look at your 10 habits. Reading needs a place. Writing needs a tool and a calm corner. Exercise needs a clear path. Rest needs a protected bedtime. Giving needs space in your calendar. Listening needs less noise. Patience needs fewer triggers. Goals need visibility. Gratitude needs a moment. None of that happens by accident. You set it up. You make it easy to start. You make it hard to escape. Put the book on your pillow so you cannot miss it. Put the journal on your desk so it is waiting for you. Lay out your workout shoes the night before so the decision is already made. This is not motivation, this is engineering. And now you need a test, a binary test. No excuses, no stories, just truth. Look around your life and ask one question. Does this thing make my habits easier or harder? Does this person make my growth easier or harder? Does this space make my focus stronger or weaker? The answer is only 2 words. Easier or harder, helpful or harmful. If it makes consistency harder, it is an enemy of your future. If it makes consistency easier, keep it and optimize it. You do not have time for neutral. Neutral is a lie. Everything is pulling you forward or pulling you back. Everything is feeding your vision or feeding your distractions. Decide, then act. This is where people get emotional. This is where they get soft. They say, "But I can't change my environment." Yes, you can. You can change it layer by layer, and you must. Necessary isolation is not hate. It is responsibility. You are not cutting people off to be cruel. You are cutting noise off to be focused. You are protecting the compounding rhythm that will change your life. There are 3 layers you must filter. First, objects and space. Remove anything that pulls you into procrastination, anything that creates friction for your good habits. Clutter is not just mess. Clutter is a delay machine. Information. Cut the sources that dilute your mind. Random news, endless feeds, gossip, negativity. Those things steal attention, and attention builds your life. Third, people. You become what you are around. You become what you tolerate. If the people around you constantly drag you away from your schedule, your standards, and your goals, you will eventually break, not because you are weak, but because you are human. So limit exposure, reduce access, protect your time, protect your focus, and then do the other side of it. Build the right circle. Surround yourself with people who are growing, people who are disciplined, people who respect the work. Their energy will lift you. Their standards will challenge you. Their presence will push you forward. This is not a theory. This is the law of environment. Now, here is the mandate, the until mandate. You do not try to build a good environment. You build it until failing becomes difficult. You design your space, your schedule, your inputs, and your circle until your small habits become the default setting of your life. Until reading happens without debate, until writing happens without drama, until exercise happens without negotiation, until rest is protected, until distractions have no home. Your environment will either lift you up or pull you down, and you hold the power to choose which one it will be. So make it visible. Make it real. Your environment is your vow you can touch. Your environment is your standards in physical form. And now your action is simple. Do not think, do not delay. List 5 things in your current environment that are breaking your habits. 5, write them down. Then choose one and remove it within the next 24 hours. Not next week. Not when you feel like it. In 24 hours. And then choose one thing you will add today that makes your habits easier. One book placed where you cannot ignore it. One corner set up for writing. One distraction blocked. One schedule protected. Do it today. Protect your environment until your habits win. Protect it until you win. Chapter 14. The plan to install 1 to 10 habits. Start today. You need the truth before you need the plan. You will slip. You will miss a day. You will break rhythm at some point. Nobody keeps a perfect streak forever. If you are expecting perfection, you are already setting yourself up to quit. The real problem is not the fall. The real problem is what most people do after the fall. They disappear. They miss one day and turn it into a story. They miss one workout and decide they are not that kind of person. They miss one morning and label themselves undisciplined. That is the death sentence, not the slip, the vanishing. Because compounding only works if the signal stays alive. Your job is not to be perfect. Your job is to stop disappearing. Now reframe failure. Failure is not missing a day. Failure is surrendering. Failure is quitting the system because your emotions got loud. A slip is data. It is feedback. It shows you where the system is weak, where the environment is wrong, where the plan needs a tighter design. You are not a servant to your habits. Your habits serve you. They exist to produce results that compound over time. That means your system has the right to be adjusted. In fact, it must be adjusted. The builder does not cry when the structure reveals a crack. The builder fixes the crack. You do not throw away the whole future because one day went wrong. You repair. You return. You keep the chain alive. Now understand the duality. Every morning you wake up. You are not just choosing what you will do. You are choosing who is in control. There are 2 modes, builder or excuser. The builder installs small habits, protects rhythm, and adjusts the environment to make winning easier. The builder does not wait for perfect conditions. The builder creates conditions. The builder does not depend on motivation. The builder depends on standards. The excuser is the opposite. The excuser waits until it feels easy. The excuser waits until there is time. The excuser waits until there is energy. The excuser waits for a clean week, a fresh month, a perfect Monday. And while they wait, the old life compounds. Every morning you must face the question that decides your future today. Which mode will I activate? Do not answer with words. Answer with action, because action is the only honest answer. Now, take pain and turn it into discipline. The decisive moments are never the moments when you feel unstoppable. The decisive moments are when you are lazy, discouraged, overwhelmed, busy, and tired. That is when small habits become a rescue rope. That is when the entire philosophy of this book proves its value. Here is the survival rule when it gets hard. Lower the standard, never lower the frequency. Reduce intensity. Keep the signal. That is how you avoid the worst outcome disappearing. On bad days, you do not chase big wins. You protect rhythm. Reading if you cannot do 15 minutes. Do 5. Journal if you cannot write a page. Write 3 lines. Exercise if you cannot train hard. Move for 10 minutes. Rest if life is chaos. Your discipline is going to bed on time. Do you see the pattern? Minimum action, same frequency. The goal on bad days is not progress. The goal is to keep the compounding engine on. Keep the signal from going dark. Because one day of minimum action keeps the identity alive. One day of 0 turns into 2, then 3, then a month. That is the trap. You will not enter that trap. Now you need a plan that is simple enough to execute and strong enough to survive real life. This is your immortal declaration. You will not build 10 habits at once if you cannot even keep one. You will build in tiers. Tier 1 is mandatory. Choose exactly one habit and do it every day for 14 days. One habit, every day, no excuses, no negotiating. Tier 2 is expansion. Add the 3 core habits and hold them for 30 days. Reading plus writing/journal plus exercise. Small versions are allowed. Disappearing is not allowed. Tier 3 is integration. When rhythm is stable, expand to 5 to 10 habits over time. Do it like a builder, one installation at a time, one lock-in at a time. And do not forget the 2 weapons that decide whether your system survives patience and environment. Patience means you accept the silent season. You do not measure with feelings, you measure with show-up. Environment means you design your space, your schedule, and your inputs so the habits are easier than the excuses. You do not rely on willpower to fight a bad environment forever. You change the environment. You protect the system. This is how you win long-term. Now the book ends, but your system starts. Here is your vow. Say it like you mean it. Write it down like a contract. I do small things every day. I do not disappear. That is it. That is the whole game. Not intensity, not perfection, presence, consistency, compounding. Now the final action. Pick your tier. Choose a fixed time in your day. Write the list of the habits you are installing. And set the start date. Not next week, not when you feel ready. Today, right now, where you are, with what you have, start today.